Please stay quiet or join the conversation. Let's go ahead and bring up my screen.
Hi, Daryl.
Hello
or
there.
Darren, excuse me.
That's okay. You didn't call me a bad word, so I'll take anything
Oh,
else.
not at all. Not at all. I'm here to listen in. I think you did a terrific job. Absolutely terrific job with the show.
Thank you very much.
And that's exactly what the team was saying to me yesterday as well.
Well, good.
And we're making our plans for 2024 right now. So I'm listening to everything I can.
Absolutely. And since it's just you and I here today, so it's just more of whatever we talk about is what everyone else gets to listen to later. So their choice, if we want to focus it on just what you see and what things you'd like to see different next year. The overall agenda for today's meeting was for two things. One, to bring up the H&H Connect platform. Once again, at every chance I can, I'm trying to explain what the platform is used for, what the intent of the platform is, how to use the platform from a general user point of view, and then we'll take a look at the exhibitor point of view of how to use the platform, as well as just a flat out Q&A for the show. Whether it's feedback on things that happened at the show, other types of digesting of just what numbers were, what things were, almost to the, we're still in the recovery phase and the brainstorming of where we're going to go different next year. So all of those things are at play. And we are very transparent, and we crave the feedback of the community because we feel that this event is not about us, it's about you, and about whether you as the exhibitor, you as our media partners, you as associations in the space, whether it's you as the retail store, the creator maker, the Etsy shop owner, the product that hasn't been invented yet person, or the store that is going to open next week or next month or next year because you got inspired by our show. We want to hear from you of how we can keep building on that inspiration and keep raising the overall show's relevance, presence, and importance to the sector. And since you're here with us from Fab Shop News, the idea that what's still unique for people trying to get their head around is the product categories of the show. So it is definitely still different. We have quilting, we have sewing, we have embroidery, you have crocheting, you have knitting, you have some general crafts. It's really about products that are used largely in, we'll call it fiber arts or in the soft craft sector, but with just growing just crafts in general, because every crafter wants to change their craft a little bit. It's really hard. I was talking to some folks, they're avid quilters. They own a beautiful quilt shop in Canada, but for some reason, the sewing machine just does not fit on her table tray when she travels. Just can't bring it on the airplane. Got the outlet, but you can't really run the machine there. So she does like other crafts, and she happens to crochet because that's something she can do when she travels or if she's in a car on a long ride. To give just some quick numbers of the show for our friends listening at home, keeping with the scorecard, we had a record-breaking 267 exhibitors, not booths. We count the exhibiting companies using different size booths. Over 35 different sessions, whether they were the master class, our keynote sessions, our main stage, our regular business classes that were paid for content, or hands-on demo learning lab, the main stage program, to special events of book signings. One company every day hosted a, we'll call it a make your s'mores kind of an event in their booth, to the meetups in the afternoons and the evenings by user groups, by just people of like-minded community, like the cosplay one. So quite a number of different things, and let alone walk up and down the aisles and find new products. That's always a primary goal. There were 2,535 total attendees to the show. That was coming from 38 different nations around the world. And of that, when you look just at the United States, every single state in the Union, plus Puerto Rico, had representation of attendees coming from those states. So all of it is growing. That translated to an approximately, here as I go through my statistics, so probably about a 30% increase year over year And we saw the same thing on the exhibit side. So it's kind of the nice measured growth of exhibitors and visitors kind of growing together. The more exhibitors we bring, the more visitors we will bring along with them. For my singular audience, any questions or something I didn't hit on that you're like, I'd like to know more about this that happened at the show?
Well, as I'm listening to your numbers, I'm kind of curious if you have stats on who has attended or what the numbers are for 2022 and 2023, or how many did not return for 2023. And then what your thoughts are as far as projections for 2024.
Sure. Interesting question. Never thought of running that report, but it's something we can definitely digest and take a look at. Right now, the team is building what I would call the informatics side of this show. Like as a trade show organizer, we love numbers, we love statistics. So we will be publishing in the coming weeks, kind of like the charts, right? That talk about here's how the attendees self-categorize as their primary business, whether they were brick and mortar versus e-commerce versus designer versus educator. So kind of looking at the audience through that community lens.
Yeah.
Then also looking at it, what was your primary product of interest? And again, we try to somewhat focus, is your primary business a quilt shop? Is your primary business a yarn shop? It's a little less, sometimes it gets a little less interesting because if you're e-commerce, you might be both, right? You might just be interested in everything under the sun. And part of I think the fun part of what the show offers is the cross-pollination, the idea that a quilt shop all of a sudden sees, like our last day keynote speaker, the Wobbles, that little packaged crochet kit. A few other companies have products just like that. They're little mini kits, great little cash register kind of items. And you're like, wait a minute, I could bring this into my shop. This is a fun little Christmassy item. That's just one more item to sell someone who just enjoys crafting and is looking for a gift for a friend. And then even buying authority will be on there. So those types of reports will be we're coming out with that data soon. And I'm going to challenge the team to kind of take a look at returning versus new as we kind of look at that data. If I were to go by my gut assumption, I think, well, the growth is from new, right? If we grew by 30%, I don't believe people were bringing just the same places, we're bringing more people. I think that's just new people coming. Sure, maybe there's one or two, right, that brought an additional staff member this year, where last year they just came themselves. But my gut would tell me it's coming from new stores coming to the show this year. Where do I see it going in 24? That and a lotto ticket, and I'll be all set. The reality is, it's hard to judge. If I had to guess by the tone of the types of companies that walked the show this year that did not exhibit, we had a couple of very key meetings with, if I were to say, only 5 key market brands that are coming next year. That would be a very short list of who we actually did speak to that were not exhibiting at the show. They committed, yes, we get it, we're going to be here. Just by adding these kind of market leading brands, I think will also be another huge vacuum pull of the types of, just more buyers coming. If I had to say measured growth, I would say, hey, I would love to grow by 10 to 15%. It's a nice number. It's safe and conservative. If you ask me this year, my goal was to grow by about 10 to 15%. Initially, we were growing at about 20 to 25%, and the final numbers are going to be closer to 30. So because we're also coming from 0 to year 1, it's easy to have growth, right? You went from 0 to the first year of under 2,000. Now we just added about 600 more people in year 2. It's the hard part of sometimes explaining our product development or our product innovation cycle, particularly to companies or even retailers. If you run a sale on the weekend and it just doesn't work and people don't buy that new planogram, they don't buy the new sorting of the store, you can rip it down on Sunday and set it up Monday. And you can very quickly see how do sales change this week just by moving something. I got to wait a year. So a long answer to A, I don't know. B, I'm going to tell you 10 to 15. The reality is probably more, just by the sheer growth of people getting what we are, understanding who we are, and now really putting it on their calendar. On top of that, our new show dates, I think, is also going to be very key to that conversation. The show will be May 1, 2, and 3. So it is earlier in the cycle. So again, a number of key brands have already indicated to us that they plan on using the show as a launching platform for new products, because it's better time to when they traditionally release products into the market, or products that are coming from Europe that were introduced at H&H Cologne. They really like the new dates because they introduced it in Europe at the global event. Then they can migrate here to America, release it in the American market. And then those that have reps in their sales process will kick off after there, where right now the timing of our show is at the end of that sales cycle, the end of the rep run, the end of that kind of first round of information gathering. The new dates, people have asked, just not to turn it back to it. There are some, we'll say, challenges for some consumer shows that are around on either side of us that might pose some difficult challenges for certain type of individuals or certain type of retailers and certain type of suppliers. But we feel there's either enough separation and things, the calendar consistently moves, and we're never going to win everyone all of the time. Just want to win you most of the time. Does that answer your question clearly, or?
Yes, it did. It did. So, sorry for turning off my mic for a little bit. I had background noise here. I was trying to figure out where it was coming from and get rid of it. And hopefully it didn't appear on your recording.
No, we're good. We're good. So okay. I'm going to go ahead. Do you have any other questions right now, or?
Not immediate questions, no.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to talk about what the H&H Connect platform is in general, and our goals and aspirations for what we want it to be. And then last, we'll kind of switch to a very specific exhibitor point of view of how do you get the people you scanned in your booth, and some little bit of homework you need to do. So, we should start here. When you come to the H&H America's website, in the top corner, you're going to find H&H Connect, and that's how you can get into the platform if you didn't already have it saved. And and you'll see things kind of listed in lots of places under for attendees. You can learn more about it, and there's some help videos there. There's a little bit more explanation. We're going to be adding to this section of the website soon to really fully explain what's going on. And then the same thing for exhibitors as well. So you can kind of find the platform there. When you click on the link, it'll open a new window, and it takes you in to the overall platform. Immediately, you'll see, wait a minute, there's a live session going on. I could join this session. If I click on that, I won't, because it creates this kind of weird kind of stepward downs of just the cameras, how it just kind of repeats back on itself. But there you can actually see there's a live session happening today, right now. You can then preview, kind of like any homepage. We stuck some highlights, some videos here for people to see. Some helpful tools. The most common items are dead here in the center. But if I skipped ahead too far already, the H&H Connect platform is meant as our year-round community. So the goal of this, it's free to enter. If you came to the show, you're automatically registered in this tool. If you didn't come to the show, you can still join this tool, and you can use this platform kind of like, I always refer to it as a mini LinkedIn for this sector. So as we look through the different sections, the exhibitors, you can look through who the exhibitors are at this year's show, and it'll stay there until we get to the next cycle, and we then switch over to the next edition. But you can look at exhibitors, and then you can, let's just pick one. Who do I want to pick? Pick Andover Fabrics. And then I get some information. How do I contact them? A little summary. Who's the key contact from that person? So I can then reach out to them directly. If I show interest to them, just like on LinkedIn that many of us use, you can then show interest. And when you connect and you both have interest, you get their contact information. And we'll go more into that in a moment. If I click interest here, it also just notifies the company that I've kind of put it on my favorites list, and they may follow up with me also to show that I've showed more interest. Under show more, right, you'll find, and this is based on what the company provided. And there are other questions that it's up to the exhibitor to enter, some questions that they can choose to enter. And so that way you can search on it at things like, I'm ready to service multi-unit operators. I'm looking to export, and then I'm looking to export to which countries. So it's kind of both ways. So it can be used on kind of a global format as more content and more use comes into the platform.
Are you
able? Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me. Are you able to add additional content or change the existing content throughout the year?
Yes. And I'll show you that when we get to say that we'll call it the back office side.
Okay, great.
So you as an individual can change your content for about yourself, because maybe you change your job, maybe you change your email, maybe you want to just write a different description, kind of like LinkedIn. I've been with my job for 20 years, so I don't update it that much. But yes, I've had different positions here at Colomesa over the years, so I do update it from time to time. Here again, like just to show, sometimes the platform is always being developed, like anything in software, right? So if you down arrow, these are the different ways you can kind of filter out. I'm only looking for companies from Canada. And then it's going to narrow the list to the Canadian companies. So if you're looking to source from a particular location, I'm ready for multi-unit operators. So who answered this? So unfortunately, like to the of any data, it's based on the information that the exhibitor provides. And then you'll see something similar on the attendee side. I'm ready to export because we have obviously the bulk of our companies exhibiting at the show are here in the United States. And then, but our show had 38 nations of attendance. As you can let the world know that, yes, I'm ready to talk to a store in Australia. I can deal with shipping to Australia. Good and bad, right? It's always good to grow your business, but then international commerce does raise a whole nother set of questions and things that a business owner needs to think about.
It does.
We can maybe talk about another seminar later on, but we'll keep going. I diverge. Going through the different sections. So this again is by exhibitors listing items themselves. And so we're going to expand the ways over the next few months of how you can search and things that you can look up and segregate the items down. But right now it's just raw and just a alpha search on products. If we click on one, he just provided a little bit of information. They can provide links, they can provide downloadable documents. It's up to what each exhibitor chooses to list. The community is the community, and it's actually our 2022 and our 2023 attendee community. And photos is because the person individually chose to list their information. And the information they chose to make public. But you'll notice I can't actually contact him like LinkedIn. I can put in my contacts. Oh, I did connect with him, right? So I can. So it's based on who I'm connected with that I get to see their profile data. Or if they choose to, you can, in a privacy setting, I'll show you, an individual can say, keep my information public, keep my information public to only the people that I've accepted friendships with, or keep it always private. So you get to choose how you want to interact on the platform, and you could change that at any time as your interest may need to change over time. And you can see again, there's a whole. Some people complain there's a whole survey thing when you come into the platform. Yes, it's a pain. I get it. I'll show you how. If you skipped it, I'll show you how you can add it. But the whole concept of why you're filling that in is so that people can search, and the system later on we're going to introduce kind of like matchmaking events on the system by using the data that's in your profile to say, hey, you said you're looking for product from Turkey, and this is a company that provides product from Turkey. We should match the two of you together. Or I'm looking for products from the United States. Same idea, to help focus that matchmaking capability. And you'll see here, where to go. He's attended 1 year. And you could search within the community. We come back at the top here. You can search by job titles. Job titles are a little funny sometimes because we haven't really found a great way to match because it's case sensitive. And we haven't really gone down this road of like, do you just force people to use same titles or not? Right. So owner and owner, because of the case difference. If one writes VP, the other one writes vice president. This is being sorted by the top results versus just alphabetical. You can say, I just want to find the people I've expressed interest in. What was my buying authority? I only want to talk to the final decision makers. I only want to talk to the people that were at the 23 show. And I only want to talk to designers because maybe there's something that you're doing. Or I'm interested in e-commerce stores. Or I'm a supplier and I'm only looking to connect with people that were the exhibitors in the show. So all of that is self-filtering. And at the top, you kind of have a little bit of an omni search. If you just type in some keywords, it'll bring you up everywhere that you can find those keywords. Our social wall is just what it says. It is listening to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, I think LinkedIn as well, to double check that one. So it's listening to the hashtags and listening to the @ mentions, and you just pop up on the wall. Like, here's one that popped up because he fed it in and he just hashtagged us. And you can go down everywhere. You can kind of go all the way down, and it's a nice little way just to see what the universe is saying and posting about us across platforms instead of you looking at all those different platforms. It's an interactive thing. You could find it here on H&H Connect. You can also find it on our website as well. It's in both locations. And we even had a small screen. We were testing the use of this platform near our information center, so you can just kind of watch it. And it was fun to kind of see some people just post something and wait there to see themselves come up on the wall. So it was kind of nice just to find all the interaction. And as you can see here, as you go down this list, obviously the last week, there was quite an active community just posting a few of their favorite things. It was very nice to see. The next section on the website is our event platform events. So what this is things that are coming up. So right here, this is our live event that we're in today. You can go back in time, load previous events that were on the platform. Here's one coming up this afternoon. It's a replay of one of the videos captured on site. Here's a live activity. We're going to be with Prime Media doing a top 10 trends that they saw at the show. This will be a live streamed event, a replay and a replay. So we're pushing new content each day as we come along in this week, because this week is our digital after show week to try to get people to come back to the platform and engage again and to explore. The goal overall is that at least once a month, we will have one live event on the platform initially. That's kind of our first set of goals, is just get one a month, and then we'll expand from there, working with magazine partners, association partners to come up with content, and even the exhibitor partners. We've talked with some of them about doing a day of. Take one company and we just do maybe 3 or 4 videos with them. One's maybe a fireside chat, another one might be a demo session with maybe one of their designers or one of their featured individuals, maybe a tour of the warehouse, and maybe another fireside chat in the afternoon is just a nice way to recap the day with maybe a different executive of the company. These ideas are going to be coming, so you can watch for your newsletters. If you listen to this and you want to be that featured company or an association, like, oh, this is cool, let's give this a try, please reach out to us, because this is something we're experimenting with to see how it works, what fails. Do we get eyeballs back to the platform, or can we get people to come look at it on their own, at their own reconnaissance? Because then all of the content that's captured afterwards comes on the on-demand once it's no longer live. And you can go through what year it was from. Is it from our main stage? Is it something that was just a platform event? Was it a keynote session? So you can go through and find content that you can then watch on your own demand. So this year, coming later this week, we will load all of our keynote sessions, and all of our main stage sessions will be hosted on the platform, hoping to have it all loaded by the end of the week. My connections, just like LinkedIn, these are my friends. You can actually chat with them through the platform. If they're not on at that time, they will get notice that a new message has been sent to them. So it's trying to encourage a different place for you to connect through. Maybe not the best idea. One of the other things, again, they'll get notice if I clicked on a company. They'll see this message when you get that. We'll look at how to do that part later with them. Any good so far?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Doing great.
And then going back to the homepage, because so you have navigation on the side. Eventually, we'll get rid of the highlights and kind of push them into a different area of the platform. Right. So if you're like, how do I do certain things? How do I get to navigating? For folks that want to advertise, we got a little advertising space for you. And then here, this is where we highlighted some sessions from last year, some of the key things, exploring products. And then we, of course, will always want to thank all of our partners and everyone that even make the event possible. The one key thing that you want to do here, so you can find the links here in the middle of the screen on the home screen, or in the top left navigation, you're going to find things like My Profile. What's My Profile? Your profile. You can load an image, change your name. Headline is like that little byline that kind of comes underneath. So you can kind of customize how you want to be seen. Here, only my contacts get to see my information. Though my information is not that hard. It's on every website we have. It's probably at the bottom of every single email that goes out with my name on it. And then how I answered all of the survey questions, I can come in and change them.
Okay.
Account settings is if you want to change your password, if you want to receive those notifications, or wait a minute, I'm not getting those notifications. Well, there you go. This may be because it's just not turned on for you. Or if you're like, I want out of this, I no longer want to see this thing, I'm leaving the industry, I've hit retirement, I am done. You can also just remove your own account. We do comply with GDRP standards and giving you access and the ability to add and remove yourself at your wish. Obviously, notifications. As you can see, I'm not doing a good job. I've got 5 new messages that I have not paid attention to. Not being a good salesperson. Then, again, like you have here, how to edit your company profile, your showroom. You can click it there or under My Team, and you're going to see now what I call the back office.
Okay.
So here you'll see company profile. There's a big header graphic, your icon graphic again. You want to tweak your company name because you just don't like the way we wrote it. Some people, I don't have the word Inc. in here. It probably should say, technically, that's our company name, right? We're Cologne Messa Incorporated for the US office, what target markets. So you can tweak all of these different settings for your general corporate company profile. Hit update profile and it's instantly live. Just to quickly do it, because I just noticed we didn't have this one on ours. You notice I'm missing a website. If I click on it, I want to add a link. And then now that's going to be on the website. And you can add multiple links. So maybe I want to list one for add a link, and it's going to be and this is for our show in Cologne.
Is this same app available to US individuals or companies for Cologne?
Cologne uses something different at this time, where it's one of our corporate missions between our 2 shows she used one platform this year, I used a different, and we're kind of testing to see which is the platform we're going to go with. But they do have it's the same but different, if that's a nice way to answer it.
Okay.
So this past year for the Cologne show, they have a mobile app only. They actually don't have a web presence at all that's used, but in that mobile, exhibitors can, again, update their profile in the mobile app. In the mobile app, you can go through networking, you can search for individuals. It's very similar in style, just a different service provider doing the same things, just a little different is the best way to put it.
Okay.
Here, and if I just kind of jump back here for a second just to see how that looks. I clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Then you'll see the links. They're instantly there. And then if you're a partner, or like if you did a class, like you can see every place, because I'm connected to the company. So every session I speak on then gets listed below as a way to kind of tie your thought leadership to your company.
Okay.
And then any products that you offer are then listed below. To the component of Teams, and this is so this Teams is you can control who shows up at the bottom of the page and who's connected. And you can invite other people by just clicking on invite and saying, yep, she's part of my team. Invite her, and then she's going to get a link that she has to accept that, yes, I actually want to be listed. Please put me on the page. So that way, if she then says yes, she would be added down here as well. And one of the things I sometimes suggest to exhibitors, particularly also with our companies in Cologne, it's nice when you see all these names here, and you might see sometimes people have 10 different salespeople, right? Take a distributor, right? Like that might have literally 15 people at a show potentially, right? Or in the platform. Change your headline to what territory you cover. It's so critical. I find sometimes it's very difficult when you see account manager, and you're like, I don't know which account manager to contact. And sometimes account managers don't always forward a sales lead to the right account manager. So if you want to make your life easier as a company, make sure that you say, like, this is the account manager for the Northeast. This is the account manager for the Southeast, or whatever, however you organize, or this is the international person. This is the domestic person. So that way, as a customer coming in, I don't have to figure out and play games and email 10 of you to figure out which one I actually have to speak with.
Excellent feedback.
And then here, right? So now you're starting to getting into, and the content you're seeing here at the moment are the connections just on the year-round platform. This is still separate of the things that you did physically at the trade show. There are still some, as this is a new product, we're constantly developing and making improvements along the way. So we're going to say 2 real tools at the show, and a third one of how to access what's going to come down. So if you update your exhibitor profile here, it does and did update the mobile app profile. That's instantaneous. If you change your individual profile here, that individual profile is updated in the mobile app as well. The mobile app is meant for a tool to use specifically for the 4 days of the physical trade show. It's not meant for even say this week anymore, or the next week or the week beyond. Your friends and connections you make on site as a company, and we'll see how to get those leads and those scans, are going to flow back to your lead list here to see that. So or as an individual, my friends that I made on site will be my friends in the community or in the Connect platform. So you shouldn't, and if you are missing something, then as I say, it's a product like anything sometimes in software, it's always developing and always changing. It is, we're fixing things as we go. As we find bugs and problems, it's being fixed. And so if you do run into problems, please do reach out to us, because we will get the development team on it to find where there have been some hiccups. And I think most of the key parts are settled, and how your friends will flow back to you as friends. But importantly here, you can click on there's things that you can go through. And so there's 42 people have clicked on our profile, and then I can kind of go through and see, hey, here, Catherine Curry has viewed the company profile. I can make an internal note. I could send her a friend request because I want to connect with her.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just like LinkedIn. It's a little bit like LinkedIn. Sometimes if you've ever used it for sales, like you send out these things and maybe 1 in 5 actually get back to you. But it's a way to try to connect and meet someone that you don't know. And hopefully it's a little more targeted, because on something like LinkedIn, I know for myself, I'm constantly having personal bankers, like just random things that are just not relevant to what I'm trying to achieve, where this is for, we'll call it a much more specific audience. Or some companies, you might make fabric for quilting and crafting and for garment making, but then you also might make fabric that goes into production, like for couches and for sheets and for more industrial scale level production. So you can kind of work through, and if I wanted to say, wait, who's this Catherine? If I clicked on her, it's because she didn't activate her profile, or what's wrong here? User type is not allowed. Okay, there's a bug I got to fix. Like here's one, so something unique in that person here. I can see she's checked me out. Again, I can just make my own notes, and then I can show the interest to her. And then that way, if she says yes, then I will get her contact information. If people here, as you see, people I have to get back to, they initiated chats with me on the platform that I have to get back to. And so this is, again, is a year-round place to host it, to take on this content. Products. Pretty straightforward. You click on products, you click add product, and then you can load photos, and you just kind of fill in the form for the information. You can export your contacts, so anyone that has given consent, and if you hit export, it exports an Excel list. So you can then take it into your CRM systems or however you choose to manage individual businesses. Now, time for the other tool. So if people didn't see it in the beginning, there's a little icon over here, switch events. This is the back office way to utilize and access things that you may have done on site, particularly for scanning. So if I hit switch events, okay, you know you're in a different platform. We did dress it up so it looks nice, but you'll see special notice. This website is for downloading your scan leads, your scan show leads.
Okay.
That's what you're doing here. Everything else does relatively look the same. So the content is there. When you click on my team, again, this is now people that are clicking on things in the mobile app. Chats that came to us, as you see, they're coming across even. It's kind of new to me. I didn't know they figured that part out yet. The contacts that I have, I can score them. And then the team members. As other team, and here's an important thing that you need to do. You need to invite everyone that worked in your booth and scan leads. If you do that, the contacts are the aggregate team. So if you have 5 staff members, all 5 people were scanning, and it's okay if you do it after the fact. It just has to be done before you click export.
Okay.
And then you get one lead list, which is quite nice.
Yes, it is.
One of the things for exhibitors listening at home, it's nice to know most other shows charge for lead retrieval, and what this service is. This is something that is inclusive in the cost of your exhibiting, just like the carpet. So that's really the key thing that companies at this point should be doing, is logging into the Connect platform, switching to the tool to download your on-site scans, and then making sure your team members are all invited. And as you can see, my own team did not respond to the invitation like they should have. So I'm going to send it again. Send it again. I want them to do it. So that way, any of their scans will then be on my contact report.
So in addition to scans at your booth, do you have access or do you scan for events as well?
So yes, so when it comes to our speaking program, and our partners, we are scanning people that came to the event. So we do work with our partners to provide that list. Or like for yourself, there was some through the registration process, we had asked a question like, are you interested in getting more information from one of these partners? All of that list is now the cleanup homework we have to do this week, is to package up all of that consent data where, yes, I want information from the Craft Industry Alliance. I'm not a member. I want membership information. Or Fab Shop is on that list, right? Yes, I want more information from this organization. That they check that box, that gives us the consent to then share that data. And that's as fast as I can get through the team can get through the punch list of cleanup and things to do. That will all be coming out to those partners.
So where someone pre-registered for attending a main stage presentation, that pre-registration list is available in
Correct.
time. In
Correct.
time.
Correct.
Yeah,
and actually the scan lead, because something like main stage, for folks that were there, it's sectioned off, but like you come and go. It's not mandatory to register, as long as it's not, even if there's a seat. Like we had an individual there that if people were just hanging out there or wanting to go sit down, they were scanning the name they were hopefully getting every name tag that walked into that area. And the same thing goes for the Learning Lab section as well, or any of our keynote sessions, it was keynotes, main stage, and Learning Lab are the three places that we did that verified who walked in the door kind of process. The meetups, we did not take that on. The meetups we left to individual organizers to kind of do their attendee or check-in list.
Okay.
What else can I share?
Oh, I think you've done a great job. My wheels are cranking at the moment. So
yeah, and hope our goal is to, let alone for retailers to be inspired, but for publications to be inspired, membership networks to be inspired. Like the idea is to say, okay, this is something that's different to America. What does it mean to my business? And how does it maybe inspire me to take my business to the next level? Also often, I really do stress like the idea that investing in your business, investing in yourself. And like, cause sometimes you hear from shop owners, like, I can't afford to come to the event, which we get. Hey, travel's expensive, life's expensive. Like nothing is cheap anymore. Even Taco Bell's not cheap, right? But the concept of if you want to grow your business, how can you invest in that business? And maybe you can't go, right? Maybe there's a physical reason, a financial reason, but it doesn't mean you can't participate in the Connect platform and still source from vendors, network with people, join a seminar like this when we have it, watch something on demand when you want to watch it. That you still can be an active participant, even though you weren't able to get to the physical show, whether ever, or maybe it's just that year, right? Sometimes being in June, we have kids graduating, unfortunately, right? Like our kids want to grow up. My daughters won't listen to me and stop growing up. You can
Wouldn't it be nice, Darren? Wouldn't it be nice?
14 going on, I don't know what is the say, an 11-year-old. My 11-year-old wants to stay an 11-year-old. My 14-year-old is already done being a teenager and just ready to be an adult, unfortunately. What you see on the screen here, you can also see kind of how the contact was made. So you see the source here, right? This was just made through like event matchmaking where I connected with them versus I scanned this person's badge.
Uh-huh.
So again, you can see that. And then attendees can do this too, because I don't think many people utilize the tool. But if you don't have a business card or like, hey, I want to connect with you. Hey, I want to connect with you. And instead of like, take a picture of my phone number or text me, I'll text you. you could just scan the barcode, and that barcode is then registered in each of your friends lists so that you can then follow up later with your friend or your new friend.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we do get like this is it's complex because there's just so many things, and software is complicated. You know, the world figured out how to use Zoom. Fortunately and unfortunately, we figured out how to use Zoom. How do we work at live events? We're hopefully bringing new innovation and these new ideas and these new tools to events that no one's ever had here in the States, and saying, I got to learn this. Like, how do what does this mean? Like, did have some people not realizing that each person needed their own name tag, that one name tag can't just be printed twice for two people. So we're all learning. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can share. Future direction, since I got you listening here, and I got another moment or two as we come up on the hour mark. Things that I think you'll see growing. I think you definitely will see the breadth of companies coming. I think definitely for folks on the quilt side, I think you're going to see yet another step forward in the types of companies and the volume of companies that are coming from that sector in the space. Just from the non-exhibiting suppliers that are coming to the show, we actively open and welcome partnerships of all types of organizations. As you saw from our side event schedule, we wouldn't be upset about co-locating events with us. That just makes everything bigger and better. I think as long as my customer wins, their customer wins, and I win, there shouldn't be a no. It might be a few things to work out, might be a few question marks to kind of figure out how do we solve this. I hate to even call it a problem. How do we solve this question? But as long as each component wins, then I don't see why that's bad for anyone. As long as each of all the parties can sit and nod their head and say, yeah, that's a win. We like that. You will see, I think, expanded, the Learning Lab is going to expand on more hands-on demo. So we're looking to expand a larger, I'll call it classroom kind of setting, where designers can kind of roll out, here's the new fabric coming from the year, here's some new stuff happening, and then you can kind of follow up the next day when the booths do open, making sure exhibitors understand that they can have early booking appointments, because the show did open at 10. And some are like, oh, I just wish I could have taken this meeting at 9. You could have. We're just going to make sure you actually understand it next time. We're working already on the idea for a fashion show, but looking at how do we do maybe one for the quilting and sewing, for the quilting and crocheting industry, but then how do we do that for quilts? How do we do that for garment making? And how do we make that into one combined show? Or is it maybe different shows throughout the day? But we're looking to add that kind of live runway experience. Pardon?
I didn't mean to interrupt, but my word was excellent.
Yeah, so we think that will be fun and interesting to do. And then, yes, we're already looking at a permanent quilt display. So we had our fashion boulevard that was probably more knitted and sewing, knitting and crochet focused. So we want to now make sure we equalize that with something that's more commonly seen, particularly for the fabric side, like the quilting side of the industry, to have an exhibition for them. Our cosplay area, if you didn't see it, please go back and watch the videos or check out the website. That was balanced. I think we had about 4 or 5 of one medium, 4 or 5 of the other medium. And we're already looking to figure out how do we do like Project Runway, stealing something from Bravo there, a idea where we can get products to makers in advance of the exhibitors at the show. And it has to be a mixed media between all the products that you see at the show, and it gets put on display for the first time at the show.
Oh, that's excellent too.
So I think that's a new exciting feature that we're already working with the partners to develop for the platform, and probably things I haven't thought of yet, even maybe a full out party at one of the restaurants over there, where it's just an evening event there's a nice person I've been there, there's a barbecue joint that just has everything from vegetarian all the way through to the meat lovers paradise. And it's got a special event concert arena side, because next year we are a little bit ahead of the Concert in the Park series. That series kicks off on Memorial Day weekend for Rosemont. And so we are a couple of weeks earlier this year. So we're going to be looking to figure out how do we bring an entertainment evening into the mix. And hopefully, if you haven't found my email, I'm not the hardest person to find. If you have an idea, just shout out to us and tell us, please. you folks are way more creative than I am. So please just let us know what you're thinking or what you're wishing for, what you would hope we can do. Even expanding our reach to the sometimes like we'll call it a controversial audience of this content creator, influencer kind of category, because are they consumers or are they business? Probably depends on who they are and where they are in their career. But the creators we brought this year to the show on all categories of products, they reached just under 6 million consumers. So if I'm a supplier, if I'm an exhibitor, and if I can speak to, 4 or 5 of those creators and get 4 or 5 of those creators to do something on my product, I have a feeling you're going to see your sales in that cycle go up and to the right. And so we're looking for more ways to kind of expand that reach, because they are the modern marketers, right? That's the modern magazine. That's it's just modern media in the space, as the publishing side has realigned itself in the last few years. Any other closing questions or comments that you'd like to share before we wrap that up?
I don't. I started by saying I think you did a wonderful job, an excellent job, and I appreciate everything you've shared here. You've planted many, many good seeds, and I will be back in touch.
Love that. I look forward to it. We're excited to deepen the relationship, and as I say, the goal is just to help the community improve their businesses.
Absolutely.
And with that, I wish you a wonderful day.
You too, Darren. Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a great day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.